So as you can see, I've updated some of my props collection. Not by a whole bunch, but it's better than it was before, I guess. And I have been looking online for some new sonic screwdrivers. I figured I should probably just make an entire sonic screwdriver collection. They're not that expensive, come to think of it, so I might actually end up doing it. But we're not here to talk about my upcoming sonic screwdriver collection. We're here to talk about Doctor Who, the newest episode that just happened. Well, here's the thing, though. Last week I watched the episode and I immediately did my review, and I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours working on it, editing it, adding some new clips and some new images, all that good stuff, and I added some music and sound bites. It was an amazing video to behold, but then the BBC ended up taking it down for copyright infringement, which it's totally fair. It's obviously it's their content, so I don't fault them for doing that. So and they specifically specified which clips were problematic to them. So I just took it down. I said, okay. I re-edited it. I removed the specific clips that bothered them, and I redid it again. And actually, to be quite honest, the second one was even better than the one I originally uploaded. But then came a multitude of other problems. Apparently the second video that I uploaded had some problems where it was just stuck on an image of me going, and the video didn't really go anywhere, neither did the audio, which was problematic, and people have commented about it, so I took it down and I re-uploaded and re-edited my video again properly. Like I said, it was better than the first one. I uploaded it again. The BBC took it down again for completely different reasons. For clips that were apparently okay to be used in the first review, but when I uploaded my second one, suddenly those things were the problems. Okay, so I ended up re-editing and re-uploading that video 6 or 7 times that day. Yeah, that was a very long and painful experience. Eventually I just ended up uploading the video clean. Just I edited some of the stuff that I shot right here in my apartment, with no extra music, no extra sound bites, no clips, no images, no nothing. I didn't even put an image in the thumbnail because I was afraid that the BBC would take it down again for copyright infringement. So, yeah, that happened. I hope you guys understand now why my previous review was not very impressive. But that's life. I'm hoping that this one will be better. That maybe I'll just try experimenting with a few stuff. I'm gonna just start slowly by putting a few sound bites and music in the background and see if the BBC is okay with that. And if they will, maybe I'll just casually ease in a few more images and maybe clips in my upcoming reviews until the BBC says, whoa, 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 you can't do that. Then I won't do it again, and that'll be the end of it. So for now, let's just talk about the actual episode that I hope you've all watched, because I'm going to spoil it if you haven't. So, Doctor Who, Series 11, Episode 2, The Ghost Monument. Well, now we know what the Ghost Monument is, but let's talk about it later. So, the episode begins. How does it begin? Well, a title sequence. We finally got to see the new title sequence, and by the way, I just love it. I mean, I think this is the best visually looking title sequence, if what I just said makes any sort of sense to you guys. But so far we've had these nice visuals. They started with the original 3 Doctors with these, how do I explain it? These two-dimensional wobbling lines and shapes and weird things. Then, well, that was during the 60s and early 70s. Then, during the mid to late 70s, it was this sort of space tunnel that the TARDIS is going through. Then, during the 80s, for some reason, they moved it away to space. Now it was happening in space. The title sequence was moving through space, and you see the stars forming the title of the show. That was actually pretty good. And it kind of sounds like I'm complaining, but no, I actually liked it. I haven't really had a title sequence that I didn't like, as far as I can tell. But then the 8th Doctor era kind of upped the ante by putting it in a galaxy of things. I really wish I could put some clips of the original title sequences, but again, like I said, I'm afraid the BBC might take it down, so I'm just trying to explain it with my hands and with my sonic screwdriver like some master conductor, but that's the best I can offer right now. Then, in the 90s, with the addition of the Doctor Who TV movie into the official Doctor Who canon, we've gotten sort of a return to the tunnel, sort of time vortex thing, but it was still set in space, so that was nice. And then the 2005 reboot took it a step further by fully showing a time vortex that was also in space-ish, and that's the same thing that happened for the next few Doctors, the 9th Doctor, the 10th Doctor, the 11th, and even the 13th Doctor had a bit of kind of a vortex, but in the even the 11th Doctor era, right near the end of the Matt Smith time, it was kind of, again, more weird shapes, and then there was the vortex. But all these things have happened to bring us to where we are now, which is the new title sequence for the show. And again, I absolutely loved it. I guess they went back to the wibbling lines with a little mixture of putting it inside a vortex. And like I said, this is the best looking version of that title sequence as far as the visuals go, because like I said, you probably still remember if you have watched the original series, you probably still remember the old weird shapes and things. This is that, but in the modern era, in sort of full 3D HD goodness. So I kind of don't really like the choice of color. I think it's a little monochromic, kind of a depressing color. But I love the actual shapes of the visuals themselves, and I also love the. You still have the names of the associated actors pop up. I kind of miss the whole idea of putting the Doctor's face in the title sequence. I'm one of the few people left on the planet that actually likes that aspect of the original title sequence, because, well, the same reason we still have pictures of presidents printed on money these days goes all the way back to the Roman time. Back then, because the Roman Empire was so incredibly big, and people were living like in Egypt, or way far away from Rome and where the emperor sat. Well, they had no way of knowing who the new emperor is, so what the Romans did, they just carved the face of the current emperor onto the currency and passed it along all over the empire, because money travels fast and wide, so that way everyone could know who the emperor is. I kind of like that aspect of Doctor Who, where every season they showed us the face of the Doctor in the title sequence to show us who this Doctor is and where we're going. Not that we don't already know whose Doctor are we watching right now, but that's not the point. Anyway, so I kind of missed that. I really hoped this season would bring that element back, but it didn't, and I guess I'll just have to live with it. It's not that big a deal, really, but still, I would have preferred if it was done this way. So the actual episode itself, picking up from the cliffhanger of last season, I really enjoyed this episode. I still think the previous episode, the season premiere, was better, but I think that's kind of an unfair judgment because the previous episode was a season premiere. It was the introduction of a brand new Doctor. It had a lot of things going for it, so I kind of don't think it's fair to judge these two episodes equally. So, judging this episode on its own, it was a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me a lot of one of my favorite episodes from the classic series, Enlightenment, and I'll get to why in just a second. So, what is this episode about? Again, much like the pilot episode, or I guess the previous episode, very simple Doctor Who storytelling. You've got this massive race across 12 galaxies, and there's two people left in the race, and they're both trying to reach the end. Like I said, simple and not really much of a problem. Like I said, it reminds me of my one of my favorite episodes from the classic series, Enlightenment, where again you've had this race of beings called the Eternals, and they were basically just having a little boat race around the entire solar system, all competing for the ultimate prize at the end, Enlightenment. What exactly is that? You'll have to watch the episode to know what I'm talking about. So there. Anyway, so very much enjoyable. I kind of you can pretty much tell where the budget on this new season, this new series is splitting, because on the one hand you have these incredibly looking shots of, and they're also filming on location in South Africa, beautiful landscapes, it looks very good. The effects look a lot better, minus the few floating cloth things. But on the other hand, and that's something that I've noticed in this episode and the previous one, yeah, there's not a lot of people in these episodes. In this episode, it was just like the Doctor, her companions, and 3 other people, minus of course the sniper robots. But I guess since the show is spending a lot more money on locations and the effects and making sure the show looks good, which is fine. It's very good. I love that. I guess they're not hiring that many people to be in it, which again, it's, if the story calls for it, and I really don't want to see Doctor Who going down the path of well, we spend all our money on the sets and the locations, we'll just have a few random episodes with these 4 people. It's still good, by the way. I applaud that. I mean, when you're limited financially, that's when the creativity starts to flow. That's, by the way, how George Lucas made Star Wars. Just saying. But yeah, I really wish it was kind of less obvious. Now, let's. By the way, I'm trying to make this review a little shorter than the previous one, because yeah, I'm not really going to be able to tell my story the way I wanted to with all the added stuff, so I'm just going to have to really focus less on several points. So, let's talk about the sort of subplot in this movie, this episode. This episode kind of introduces us to what I did not expect, but I'm so glad that it's still around. What I hope is the seasonal arcs. What exactly do I mean by that? Well, while the Doctor and the others are trying to run away from these sniper robots, they find this little inscription on the floor, which, by the way, is completely creative, and I did not expect that. But again, the Doctor shows off her ability to speak in every language in the universe, even though she doesn't really know necessarily which race that language belongs to. Yeah, that's a thing. But anyway, the actual inscription itself reveals to us that not only this planet was made desolate by the people who lived in it, it was also sanctioned by the Stenza. You guys all know who the Stenza are, right? And if you don't, the Stenza are this warrior-type people who go to other planets as predators, essentially, like the Predator movie franchise, and they basically collect people from that planet as trophies. And the people that they kill, they always take away some of their teeth and decorate their own face with it. So apparently the Stenza are going to be a relatively big plot device during this series, which again I'm very much pro that. I missed these seasonal arcs. Whether you're talking about the Bad Wolf, Torchwood, the Master being Saxon all along, and I really didn't mind the Hybrid all that much. I just, kind of wish the payoff was better than it actually was. So, this is me looking forward to seeing more of the Stenza. Maybe we can see the Stenza homeworld. Maybe we can see a whole race of Stenza people. And I really am looking forward for the Stenza to be a formidable foe that's worthy of being a part of a seasonal arc, especially since we've already been told before the season actually premiered that the Daleks won't be returning for this series, whatever. These words are confusing to me. Before we wrap up, let's just spend a few minutes to talk about some of the Easter eggs and references to previous seasons, because that did happen in this show and in this episode, and yes, I am gonna call them seasons from now on, just because I'm so confused with the whole, no, this is a season, this is a series. No, I'm not getting into all that nonsense. So, it appears that the Doctor is still very fluent in Venusian Aikido, as she clearly demonstrates in this episode by using only her pinky finger on the guy's throat to basically paralyze and incapacitate him, just like the Third Doctor used to do all the time during his run, using an ancient martial art technique to harmlessly paralyze and incapacitate his opponents without actually hurting / killing them. So I really just loved seeing that. I really hope we get to see more of that during the Doctor's further episodes. And if we don't, that's fine. At least I'm okay with us getting that in this episode. That was a really nice callback. This kind of is a little bit unrelated, but I kind of enjoyed the flesh-eating microbes in the water. It reminded me a lot of Sebastian Rada from Silence in the Library, as well as the acid water from the Keys of Marinus. And like I said, the aforementioned race across galaxies, like in Enlightenment. I really enjoyed those subtle references and callbacks to previous Doctor Who episodes. Now, finally, we have got to talk about this. So, and as you can see, I've got 3 TARDISes with me today. Let's just talk about our favorite time ship of all time, the TARDIS. Yes, that's right, this thing of beauty. So, I was kind of predicting last week that we either gonna see the Doctor fighting the TARDIS in this episode, or perhaps this was going to be a seasonal thing of us, of the Doctor and her companions, traveling from place to place, trying to find the TARDIS, but never actually succeeding. Yeah, I kind of thought that would happen. It didn't, and to be honest, I didn't really expect them to go for it that much. So we finally got to see the TARDIS, and like I said, I really enjoyed seeing it in this episode. It looked like, at first glance, that they remodeled it. They removed this Saint John symbol that I don't even know why they even bothered to put it there. I guess maybe it's because the original TARDIS from the 1960s also had this symbol on it, although it was kind of different looking than for the majority of the Doctor's other years throughout the 70s, 80s, and the 2010s. Well, and the mid 2000s, it was just nowhere to be found. Then, for some reason, during the Matt Smith era, they brought it back, and I was fine with it. I mean, it didn't bother me that much, but I still don't understand why it needs to be there. Regardless, it doesn't have that symbol anymore, last time I checked, and they changed the color of this thing again. As you can see, it's white over here. It used to be blue at some point during the show's long history. Then at some point it just became white. I don't know why. I don't know why the TARDIS has this need to change the way it looks like on the outside, but who am I to judge? And at first glance, I also thought that they also changed the color of this sign, and it's a good thing I had this thing standing on the shelf up there, because I kind of had to look to make sure it was really the color that I remembered it. But yeah, it's a TARDIS. And once we actually get inside, that was the real kicker, and we got to see the full design of the interior. By the way, the round things are back, so that's always great. I love the round things, even though no one really knows what the round things are. I love the round things. I love the new console of the TARDIS with all its new gadgets and gizmos, and the arms going upwards, kind of I guess it's a little bit of a callback to the TV movie where it had these 4 arms around the TARDIS. This new crystalline look that's for the console. I believe that's the first time the actual interior of the console is not see-through. But again, I like it. Maybe over time I love it, and as we get to see further episodes and maybe even further seasons from this new Doctor and this new TARDIS interior, I'll probably warm up to it even more. And I also love especially the special mix of organic material and mechanic material in this new TARDIS. I heard a lot of people complaining about the 11th Doctor and 12th Doctor's TARDISes, saying that they were too mechanical looking, they were too cold. I personally, as I mentioned in the previous review, I loved those designs. I don't know what people's problems were, but I guess everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I especially love this new interior design for the TARDIS. And just because the BBC can't take this away from me, let me just do this. Love that sound. My favorite sound in the universe. So that's pretty much it for this episode review. I really hope you guys enjoyed me talking about Doctor Who without actually showing you anything on the screen like I planned to do, but like I said, taking it slow. Maybe one day I'll reach a point where I can do these reviews the way I want them to. Who knows? Once again, I'm not making any promises, but that's what I've got to say for now. So, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this review, and hello again, everybody. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, where I do all kinds of weird stuff like showcase all these things, trailer reactions, movie reviews, all kinds of fun stuff. So, until next time, I'll see you guys next time.